I'm in like a committed relationship with someone, and they're in a committed relationship with somebody else.
That was the last therapist, right?
Yes.
I feel like there was some before.
They told me the same thing.
But they told you to leave the guy.
Well, yeah, they all told me to leave
And you
the
were
guy.
like, wrong therapist.
Yes.
Wrong therapist next.
You should break up with him, and I would say, yeah, I need to find a new therapist. We're just dating, and he was like, run. And I was like, okay. So.
Welcome to the Limitless Tribe, where two badass women build businesses, chase dreams, and keep it way too real. I'm Kat.
And I'm Mel. We're the founders of Powerhouse Admins and the Limitless Tribe, and we're inviting you into the messy middle, the mindset shifts, and the CEO glow-ups you never see coming.
Now let's get into it.
Hi ladies, welcome to episode 3. Today we're going to be talking about relationships, about why we choose the wrong person that is different from what we're wanting to really attract, and going from chaos to calm, how to use your nervous system to really help you see how you feel with different people and guide you to that right love, the one that not only feels good but really is good for you.
I'll be sharing my personal story, which is not easy for me. I'm not accustomed to being so vulnerable, but I do feel it is necessary, and hopefully it can help even just one person maybe get out of a chaotic relationship and really find true peace. So we all have an internal thermometer, and usually that is set in childhood. And it's from, our existing relationships that we grow up in. So your parents, right? How do you see their relationships and the type of relationship they have? Are they happy? Are they fighting all the time? Are they, is it like a roller coaster ride? And that's where we then base our relationships on and our self-worth. So did you grow up in a dysfunctional family or a passion versus dysregulation? Was it chaotic? So as you grow up, the chaos feels more familiar. And if it was a chaotic relationship, then calm, right, or being in a calm relationship is going to feel more foreign to you. Whereas if you grew up in a calm relationship, any type of chaos will probably be like, what's going on? This isn't what I'm used to, and I don't want to be in this. Being in a calm relationship would then feel more normal to you. The good thing is you can reset your thermometer, and it's just trying to figure out how and knowing when to do it and what type of relationship you're in. So for me, I grew up with great parents, right? So I do want to start there. My parents were amazing. My father was hardworking, always provided for us. He was always, there for us in whatever we needed. My mother was amazing. They're both very strong-willed, and they loved each other, but their love was toxic. And my father was very jealous. So with us kids, he was a great provider, loved us, gave us whatever we wanted, set great examples. But when it came to relationships, that wasn't an example we probably wanted to follow. And I always basically said I don't want to end up in a relationship like my parents.
So what age do you feel like you noticed like that it was not normal or what you...
When I was 9, I can pinpoint, we had just come back from a vacation, and we came back and there were like bills to be paid, and my father was very upset about something. I still don't really know what it was because I was only 9 years old. But there was just a lot of fighting. And I remember when things were great, they were amazing. They were lovey-dovey and they were so sweet to each other. But when things were bad, they were bad. And you could feel the tension in the house. Nobody wanted to talk. It could go on for weeks. And it was mostly like, hey, go tell your dad this, or hey, tell your mom this. And, kind of crappy when you're growing up in that and you don't really know what to do. You don't want to talk to anyone. You just are hoping that they you just want to stay neutral and hope that they figure it out and that things get better. But you're kind of just forced into the middle of it. So I always said I don't want to end up in a relationship like my parents, and I want something better for myself. Of course, I gravitated towards a relationship like my parents. So I never realized it though, but I guess it was the norm for me. So I ended up in a very abusive relationship. I got pregnant at a young age. I was 19. And I remember just thinking, this is not what I want, but I can't figure out how to get out of it. And I had my daughter, and I said, I need something different. I can't raise her in this. So I finally got the strength to leave, and I moved from New York. I came to Miami, and I raised her here. And I said, I'm not going to be with anyone else. I don't want to be in another relationship because I don't want that. I don't want what I just had. And I really didn't know what else was out there. And actually going back after I left my daughter's father, I did find someone, and it was a good relationship, but I think I ran from that because it was so good.
Yeah.
He was very sweet. He was attentive. He was nice to my daughter, and it was like all the good things. And then I was like, no, this can't be. Like, why is he so nice? Why is he so sweet? And I wasn't ready for that. I feel like I just wasn't ready.
You know what I wonder? So my relationships were different, right? But I have friends that are going through similar things, and I wonder if, like what you were saying, like this chaos, as bad as it is, it's like up front.
Yes.
And it's not only is it known, but like it's up front. It's not like a fake person being nice to you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So with a nice person, maybe you feel like you can't trust it because you're not really sure if it's genuine, or like they're hiding the bad part that you
there's
expect.
something. There's a shoe that's going to drop soon.
Yeah. So it's scarier than for the shoe just to be on the floor.
Exactly.
And you already know.
Yeah, just show me your cards so we can get this over with, basically. I think that's what the feeling was. So I basically ran from that. And I told myself, okay, I'm not going to be in a serious relationship. I want things on my terms. And I ended up with someone that was married. Not my finest moment. And now, as I look back, I wish that was something that never happened, but it was a mistake that I think needed to be made in order for me to find out what I really wanted and what I really needed. But it wasn't, it's not something that I would recommend to anyone. Definitely not my finest moment. But I told myself, right? So I didn't know he was married right from the beginning, and I don't want to get too much into that part of it. But I didn't know, and then I kind of found out, and I told myself, well, this is probably better because now I can steer this in the way that I want to steer it, and it's never going to be that serious because he has somebody else and he can't fully commit to me. So I can just do this on my terms, and we'll see each other when we see each other, and we won't when we won't, and this would be great.
And I know this is like that particular situation, but I feel like as women, we do that for everything. Like they'll tell us, or we'll see the red flags, and we like excuse it, and we make it either not a thing, or like in this case, like perfect, that actually works out. Yeah. Instead of really seeing it for what it is, we're just trying to make it like work. Instead
of running in the opposite direction and saying, red flag, no, this isn't going to be good for me. Just dove right in. So, married man, telling myself this is great. We'll see each other. We'll end up together for about 8 years, and it goes from being okay, on my own terms, I'll see you when I want to see you, to now I'm in like a committed relationship with someone, and they're in a committed relationship with somebody else. And I'm now lying about silly things because I feel like if I tell this person that I'm going out with someone from work, like just a girl from work, to go have drinks for happy hour, that they're going to get upset. So I need to lie about it, but he's married and I don't know what he's doing. Right? And it's a weird dynamic. So I ended up back in a toxic relationship where, highs and lows and roller coaster. And finally, again, if you listen to the previous episode, when I was 35, I decided I wanted something more for myself. And I said, no, I need something better, and I think I deserve something better. And I told myself, okay, you're going to break up with this person, and you're going to find something better. So I was always scared of marriage. I was scared of being in real relationships because of what I grew up in. And I just wanted to find someone that was nice and treated me good, but I didn't know like where to start with that or how that would look. So finally I was 35. I said, okay, I want something more.
Okay, wait, before you go into the more, which I've seen this happen also with people, and I feel like it can be confusing. Like, as toxic as this past relationship was, it was better than the first one.
Yes.
So then I think you feel like, I have friends that are in something that is better, but it's still not the right thing, or maybe it's just not right for you. But it is so much better than the toxic previous one. So you feel like you're done and improved, but then technically yes, but you're still not quite there where you want to be.
Yeah, when I was first in it, I was like, oh, this is great. You know, not only am I doing things on my terms, right, but it's not physically abusive, right? So this is 100% better than where I was.
So just because it's an upgrade does not mean it's good.
Doesn't mean it's a good place to be. So then I joined this meetup app, and I broke up with him, and I joined this meetup app, and I met Cathy and Erica, and I said, okay, I'm going to start my new life, and it's going to look so much better than what it was. And for a while, you know, I was on my own. I wasn't dating. I was just kind of, you know, putting myself out there here and there, dating apps and stuff like that, but those weren't going that great either. And I was just, you know, living for me. I was going to yoga and like working on my health and all these things, and I was feeling better as a person. But then this reared its ugly head again, and, you know, this person came back into my life saying, hey, you know, I love you and I don't want to lose you, and I'm getting divorced and all these things, right? All the things that I had wanted to hear at one point, but now they're coming up, and
me and Erica know the story, and we're like, no!
Yeah. You get sucked back in, and I go back like a fool. And again, you know, it's just turmoil. So this continues for a little bit, because then we broke up again, and I said, nope, I'm good. I need to find myself. I'm working on myself. And as I was working on myself and as I was getting things better, I went on a date with a great guy. And of course, at first I didn't know he was a great guy, but he was a nice person, and we went out, and it was calm. It was so calm. He was so calm. Everything was so calm. And I said, this can't be normal, you know? I remember I talked to you guys at one point, and I was like, we don't fight. We don't fight. We don't even argue. Like, there's nothing. It is just calm.
And I'm like, that's good.
Yeah, and I said, no, there's something. There has to be something wrong. So, again, you know, married guy rears his ugly head and sucks me back in with all the empty promises, and I tell myself, well, I was with him for so long, like, there has to be something here. Like, I couldn't have been with him for all these years for absolutely nothing, and this new guy, like, it feels weird, like, that there's nothing wrong, like, there has to be something there. So I go back again.
I feel like they get like a secret, like, toxic, like, bat symbol. Like, whenever the person starts to do a little bit better, like, they leave you alone, and they wait for you to, like, start to do a little bit better, and then they come back to, like, disrupt, like,
yes,
like, they can sense it.
They do. I think, and it's not just, like, you know, any type of toxic relationship. I feel like they can sense your happiness, and then I feel like it's the universe testing you. Like, are you
really
ready?
Want this
do
also?
You really want this? Exactly. So again, I go backwards. But this time I go backwards, and now I'm in therapy. And I start therapy, and the therapist keeps telling me that I need to look back into my childhood.
But I think before, that was the last therapist, right?
Yes.
I feel like there was some before.
They told me the same thing.
But they told you to leave the guy.
Well, yeah, they all told me to leave the guy.
And you were like, wrong therapist.
Yes.
Wrong therapist next.
They would tell me to leave the guy. They would tell me I had to look into my childhood, and every time they told me to look into my childhood, I would say, I don't want to blame my parents for my decisions, right? These are my decisions. I'm an adult. I made these decisions. They're mine. I am responsible for them. I'm not blaming my parents for this. And they would just let it go. So no one would, like, continue it. Or they would say, you know, you should break up with him. And I would say, yeah, I need to find a new therapist. So finally, I'm with this person, but my skin is crawling. And it was the weirdest sensation
Like
I've
a
ever
toxic
felt.
person.
Yes. I would sit there and I could feel my skin like if there were ants crawling on me. And it's the weirdest thing because I've never felt that before. And I would have such anxiety. And I was like, what is this? Like, we're just sitting here talking or watching TV. Why do I feel this way? And we would be having a conversation and I would feel like I was having a panic attack. I don't suffer from panic attacks. And I'd be like, what is this anxiety? What is this feeling? And the more I discussed this with the therapist and told her what I was feeling, and she would give me homework to do and all these things. And the more I told her these things, she said, we really should discuss your childhood. Let's talk about your parents. Let's talk about how you grew up, their relationship, their dynamic. And again, I would say, no, I don't want to. And then
Sorry.
Yeah.
At that point, like, does the therapist know, like, a little bit, like, por encimita, like, on top, that there is a history?
Yes.
Okay, they
So
just don't know the details.
they don't know the details. They just know that there was some fighting or arguing that was going on, but they don't know all of the details. So finally I gave in because, I mean, the anxiety was so bad and the skin sensation was just so weird. So I finally gave in and I said, okay, let's talk. And I remember I was sitting in my car having this conversation. Parked.
Like the Zoom?
It was a Zoom call, parked. I had just, I think I had just gotten out of work and I'm parked in a parking space and I have this therapist on Zoom and we're talking and she says, okay, so let's talk about your parents. And I said, okay, my dad is a great guy and great provider and my mom is hardworking and, is such an amazing mother. She did so much for us. And she said, okay, well, how about their relationship? And I said, well, there was some fighting and there was some arguing, but they loved each other. And she said, okay, so what did the fighting look like? And I said, well, my dad was very jealous. And I mean, he would just get upset about anything. I mean, if she looked at another man just while sitting in a car, it was like, oh, why are you looking at him?
In that direction.
Yeah, like, do you know him? And she's like, I've never seen that man in my life. Like, I have no clue how that is. And then that would then spiral to them not speaking for a week and a half. And then us being told, okay, go to your father and ask him if he wants dinner, or go to your mom and tell her this. And that would be like the conversation in the house, and it would be very quiet, a lot of tension. And then one day I'd just come home and they were just good. They would just be talking again and then everything would be fine and back to normal. And it was like happy household. And she was like, okay, so this is like a roller coaster. You were on a roller coaster. And I was like, well, yeah. And she said, okay, well, you're used to roller coasters. Like, you're used to the highs and the lows. And she said, well, because you're used to the high and the lows, you're looking for that fight. So when you're with somebody, if you don't have that, you think this is boring. There's no fun. Where's the fun? Where's that chaos?
Yeah.
We need it.
Which we think is chemistry.
Yes. So I was constantly looking for the highs and the lows. I wanted that, roller coaster ride because I felt like that was normal.
Yeah.
That was normal to me. That was normal for my nervous system.
And because you knew that your parents loved each other, I think that maybe you feel like that's how people show love. So then if it's flat and boring and it doesn't have those up and downs, then do they even love you because they're not showing like this
Exactly.
emotion,
Yes.
And about the parents, I feel like it's not really about blaming the parents. It's just about discovering where something we do came from, because I think we pick up so many things when we're young that they're not our things to carry or to do. So it's just discovering where it came from and why it is, so you notice your patterns and you notice, like she's saying, like you're looking for this roller coaster because this is what you grew up with, but that was their relationship. Mm-hmm. That's not how it needs to be for you. So you can kind of disconnect from where it came from.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. I think that, I look at my mother and I think that she did the best that she could. She didn't know any better. She didn't know that this was something that was then going to affect me later on in life. She was just in her relationship, right? And I now look back and feel like I don't want to also give that to my daughter, for her to think that that's like a normal relationship. And I think that's why I kept her away from any relationship. Like in some ways I feel like I did her a disservice, because even though I was with this, married man, I kept I really limited contact with her and any person in my life, because I didn't want her to get attached to anyone. I didn't want her to think that these things like fighting was normal or this was normal. So I just kept her away. And I think
that is good for her.
Yeah, I feel like in a way it's good, but in a way I didn't give her the chance to be in a healthy relationship or see.
But there wasn't one.
Yeah, so, there wasn't. But if there would have been one,
it's better she didn't get it.
It's better that she didn't get it. But those are just things that you think of as a parent, and you kind of go, man, I wish I would have emulated something different for her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so again, we're on this roller coaster, and the therapist is telling me, you need to get out of this, because you're taking, these things as good, and they're bad. This is not how a relationship should be. A relationship shouldn't be a roller coaster. It should be flat. You should feel just calm all the time. It shouldn't be chaotic. And, that doesn't mean that you're never going to have an argument with your significant other.
But they're not as big.
Exactly.
They're more like,
it's
a
just
hill.
Exactly. Exactly, a hill. Not a mountain.
Everest, and then all the way down
Exactly.
to the depths of the ocean, and then all the way back up.
So that was really, I think, I don't know if it was just the way that she explained it, because I think sometimes, people tell you things and you hear it, but it doesn't click, right? So maybe other people had told me this in the past.
Maybe. Definitely.
Other therapists, my friends, but I wasn't ready to listen, or it didn't click at the moment. It just has to come at the right time from the right person. And I think feeling that...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Feeling that anxiety.
The combination of her saying things in the right way. I know she gave you homework too. But I think that, and you made me realize something with the skin crawling and like the panic attacks. So I try to work on my nervous system, and sometimes I feel like it's getting worse because it's like more present. But now that you mentioned it, like the way you, and I've heard the story before, but like now you saying it, I wonder if it just gets louder because
I think so,
or like you're more aware of it. So it's not that it wasn't happening before, it was just maybe more suppressed, so you couldn't really tell. And now I notice things when I don't like a certain group or person, or if I'm not comfortable, like it's just louder.
Yeah,
so maybe it was getting louder.
I do feel like because I had been working on myself little by little, right? So I wasn't perfect. This wasn't like, it was messy.
Yeah.
It was very messy. But because I had started working on myself, I had started therapy, I had started doing yoga and like working on just me as a better person and knowing that I wanted more for me. And then finding someone that was nice and calm and like seeing how different things were coming together for me.
Yeah.
I then, when I went back, realized like I could sense it more. I was paying more attention, and it was getting louder. Like this is not healthy. You have to run. And then just this little side story. So we had, during this whole turmoil, and I was like feeling all this way and anxious, we had, me and married guy, I'll just call him married guy, we had gone to dinner. I think it was lunch. We had gone to lunch, and there was a couple next to us, and when he had gone to they were chatting with us and they were very nice, and when he had gone to the bathroom, the guy turns to me and goes, "Run." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "I read people and I have a good sense, and this man is sucking the life out of you." And I was like, I did not know that. I was like a deer in headlights. I actually told my husband this story because we wound up going to the same restaurant the other day, and I was like, I didn't realize that I was in the same restaurant. I said, "Oh, the last time I was here, I have to tell you a story." But he said, "Run." And then his partner said, "My husband is really good at reading people, and if he's telling you to run, I would run." And I was like, what do I do now? Like, he comes back from the bathroom and they just start chatting with us again, and I'm like, deer in headlights, where do I go? What do I do?
And this person, I didn't really know them that well, but I think we only met once.
Yeah.
It's just the little bit that I knew from that experience and other times where she sold us, he was like a master manipulator.
Yeah.
Like but like somebody that, maybe that guy that's very, I don't know, sometimes you can see people's real intentions. I feel like you can see it.
Yeah.
Because it's like you get like it's almost like you get it on you. Like you get like that yucky feeling. Even if you're not dating them, you just, I don't know, I'm sure that's what he felt, because you feel it. It's just when the person, you can tell they're not genuine, and it's just, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially in like such a little period of time.
I think we had spoken to this couple for maybe 5 minutes. And then he went to the bed, and immediately this man just told me this, and I'm like,
and I'm so glad he had the courage to say it, because sometimes you will think it, but I don't know if I would feel comfortable enough to tell a stranger that, because like, what if the guy comes back from the bathroom and she's like, he just told me to run from you, you know? So I don't know.
It was quite
great that he did that.
And it was funny because I think the first thing he said to me was, "Are you guys married?" Like, he was trying to like gauge it.
How bad is this? How stuck are you?
And I was like, "No, we're just dating." And he was like, "Run." And I was like, "Okay." So I left there, and shortly after I did run, we separated, and I was on my own, and I was again, trying to work on myself and figure out what I needed and what I wanted. And then I got back with Paul, my husband now, and it was so calm. And I'm still in therapy, so I'm talking to the therapist constantly, and we're talking about the relationship and how things are going. And she's like, well, this is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be calm. It's supposed to be. And it turns out, the funny thing is, what I thought was boring while I was on the roller coaster, like in between roller coaster and calmness, turned out to be not boring. Like, our relationship is amazing, and we do so much, and we travel, and we just go to the beach, and we have fun, and like, it's not boring at all. It's actually quite the opposite. It's actually the most fun I've had ever in a relationship. So I just needed to give it a chance, and I needed to really work on me and figure out, that these things and my background, my past really did have an effect on the decisions that I was making. So I am a huge advocate for therapy, and I don't think that I think it works. I don't think everyone maybe you don't need it, or you need different types of therapy, because there are different types of therapy, not just talking, but I think there's behavioral therapy.
That's the one I would like to try.
Yeah. So I think there's different things that you could do, but I definitely think that therapy was something that helped me figure out why I was letting myself be in these relationships, and what I was looking for, and why I was so invested into these roller coasters and feeling like this was the norm, and breaking that cycle has just given me such a different perspective. Now when I look back, I'm like, why did I do that? Why was I in that relationship? Why did I put myself through this?
As the friend, which definitely did tell her to run,
yes,
I ask her like all the time, especially now that she's on the other side, like, is there anything that we could have told you or done or said at that time? Because it's so frustrating as a friend that you love someone to see them doing this to themselves when they deserve so much better. And sadly, and I don't know if you guys have something that you think could have been different, but there's like nothing, because I think the person themselves has to be ready. But listening to you say everything, I think it's a combination of like working on yourself. And if you do that, you may not get there yet, but if you do that, I feel like you become more aware of your nervous system and how you feel, and how something feels with a certain person, and just that kind of thing. So then if the indicators are stronger, and then getting the help of like therapy to be able to kind of navigate the whole thing is that's the right combo. Like, you have to want to put in the work, get the professional help, and then listen to yourself. Like, don't ignore the signs, don't brush it off as not a big deal. Like, listen to how your body feels, listen to how you feel when you're with that person versus somebody else. And that combo, unfortunately for the friends, it's hard because we're not always part of that. But I think when you get closer to the end, maybe you start to see like, oh, this person said that, and then the guy at the restaurant, and like the therapist, like they all starts to connect, but it would be closer to the end.
Yeah. In the beginning, it's hard to listen to anybody. You're in these relationships, and sometimes, even if it's not a married person, you're just in a toxic relationship, right? You are stuck, and you kind of sometimes you might even see little things like, why am I here? A couple of times in the relationship, you're probably like, I shouldn't be here. I should break up with this person, or I don't like the way he's treating me. But then you just kind of feel stuck. So you just have to listen to yourself and listen. As hard as it is, like now I look back and I go, Cathy was right, and she told me this, this, and this. But at the time, that wasn't registering to me, Well,
I think with those relationships, especially people that are like manipulative like that, they know how to be really extra good. So like, I think when you're in the bad, then they soon do something really extra nice. So then you're switched back into like, oh wow, this is really good. And then again, it goes into the bad when before you're thinking maybe I shouldn't be here, they do something else amazing.
Yeah.
Right? So it just keeps you kind of trapped. It does.
But listen to your gut. Yeah. I think that, our bodies tell us so many things, but we're just not in tuned, or we're not listening to it. But the more you really pay attention to how you're feeling, I think that really does help.
Yes. And so a couple things that you mentioned. So for example, with listening to like the friends and things like that, I think if you, like when you mentioned about not connecting with your daughter, right? I think if you feel like you have to hide anything about it, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And you should know it's probably not good, because if it's really good, you don't have to hide it. And also, I think as women, we think it's normal because we experience it so much. Like when you're with a guy, even dating or just talking phase, there's so much doubt. Does he like me? Does he not like me? How much? Can this go further? Like you're getting almost like mixed signals. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you're like, they seem really into me, but maybe they're still dating other people, or like, it just goes back and forth, and we're really unsure most of the time. So I think that feels like normal. But now that we're in these relationships, I think something I've heard before that is really true is like the person that is right for you, you don't feel any doubt.
Yeah.
Like you don't question if they love you or how much they love you. Like there's no...
That's extremely true. I can tell you that, whereas with married guy, if he was to go on a business trip or do something, I was constantly like, what's he doing? Who's he talking to? Is he out doing something with somebody else? Like the trust, there was no trust, right? Paul can go out golfing for an entire day, do whatever, and there's no issues. Like I completely 100% trust him, because that's what he, it just feels right.
I feel like they, the way their actions and just how they are, it kind of gives that feeling.
Yes.
But it's not, and so even if it wasn't like this person was particularly toxic in the jealousy department, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in that you can't trust them. But even if they never cheated on you, they weren't having this other relationship, it's still like, it almost makes you feel like, it could make you feel like might not be enough for this relationship. Mm-hmm. Like you're not good enough. Like you're not, like what if they like somebody else? What if you don't do something that they would like that you're not doing?
Yeah.
Or like it's just so much doubt, like or that feeling of like, where do we stand?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's a normal, like a little bit in the beginning, but if you're like a while in and you're still not sure how this person feels about you, I feel like it's probably not the person, because you'll know, you really will know that person is sure and how they feel. There won't be like that questioning.
What's funny is you just mentioned not enough. So I remember when I first got with Paul, we were talking and we had just started dating. Through all of this turmoil that I've been in these toxic relationships, I just didn't feel like I was enough for anyone. So I would go over the top and I would do extra things for Paul, right? So he had gotten divorced, and he had been separated, and then he was going through a divorce and all this stuff. So he, in the beginning, when we first started dating, even though it felt good and it was calm, there was still some issues because he wasn't sure what he wanted, and he didn't want to dive right into a relationship because he had just gotten out of a relationship himself not long before. So I was like, does he not want me? Does he not like me? So I need to do extra things to make him like me more. So I'm like, going above and beyond, cooking and cleaning and doing all these things for him. And then, until one day he's like, you don't have to do any of this. Like, I like you. I like you. And that really taught me, I think, that all this extra it's a feeling of me not feeling I don't have self-worth.
And for the wrong person, there is not enough that you can do. There really isn't. My dating history is like a little bit different, right? I didn't really have the toxic relationship. So to me, anything like yelling or even like grabbing an arm hard, that's already like a red flag for me. Like, what? Like, don't even raise your voice, because my system just not like that. But I didn't have my dad really around, so I had no example. So I feel like with people that have that situation, we don't have we don't have a bar. So the thermometer is kind of set almost super low, not leaning in a specific direction, but just low, because you don't have an example and you want somebody there. And then since you lost that person, you feel like that, like abandonment syndrome. So I did the same thing. Like, I felt like I did so much, and I tried to be like the most perfect, amazing version of myself. And I had a relationship that was good, but I just wasn't their person. Like, you could tell. Like, a big one that I tried to like engrave in myself late, but that really means a lot to me, is that saying that people say, if he wanted to, he would.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think men are more clear than we are. Like, that's why I think sometimes people are with somebody for 7 years, they can't commit to that person, they meet somebody else, and like 1 year, 2 years, they're ready to marry that person. And it's because they may have been happy and they may have loved you or liked you, but it just wasn't the person or relationship that created that for them, So with my relationship, I felt that. I felt like I need to end this, not because there's anything wrong. I loved the person, but if they loved me like I loved them, their actions would be different. Like, they would just put in more of an effort and more talking about the future and like that kind of thing. But I felt that feeling like I had to do so much to be liked. Like, if you did not, then you wouldn't be liked. Like, I had to do so many things. And with my current husband, I feel like the same way. Like, I don't have to do anything, and it doesn't matter. And then in the other direction, like, it doesn't matter what I do, he would still love me. And I don't know if you guys have seen like the TikToks where the wives are like with their buns like this, and they have like the husband's shirt and sweats, and they're like, I'm still gonna get some today looking like this. Like, they just like appreciate you just for being, which is really different.
It is so different. It's so different.
My husband says that he'll be looking at me and I'm like, what? Like, I don't know if you've seen those where like you're like, what, do I have something in my teeth? Is something going? He's like, you just breathe. I'm like, okay. But we've talked about this. Like, I think this is the first time that both of us have really we felt love before, but unconditional love, this is the first time, like from a relationship.
Yeah, it definitely is. I never really thought that a relationship could feel this way. I never thought that I would ever end up in a healthy, happy relationship where things just felt good and it was fun and easy, and I didn't have to work so hard. Yeah. It's a great feeling
to do the other way.
It really was exhausting.
Yeah.
So it's not about blaming your past. It's just about reclaiming your future and breaking that cycle, so that you can get to the other side and really be happy and in a healthy and a committed relationship, and get that feeling of you are enough, just the way you are.
Yes. So, little quick recap. Dig into your history and figure out, where is this coming from? Is it something that I really want, or is this just baggage that I'm picking up? Listen to your gut, to your nervous system, but you need to be ready to listen for it to make that noise. So put yourself in a position by really spending time with yourself, listening, growing, and working on yourself. So be in a place where you can listen to your gut, to how you feel, just how your energy even feels with that person. And then when you do have that calm relationship, if it feels boring, I would question it a little bit. Is this really not for me, or is it that I'm not used to it?
Yeah.
And if it's that you're not used to it, but there really is nothing wrong with it, and you do care about the person, give it a little bit of a chance. You gave the bad ones so much chance. Give this one a little bit of a chance and see how it feels, and really try to decipher if it's just new or if it's wrong.
Yeah.
So you know the difference. I hope that this really helps people, because we truly, like everybody, we truly deserve so much more than what we allow in our own lives. So it's up to you to really open up and set the standard and, determine what you're getting.
And I also, first of all, to any of my family members or friends that didn't know this part of my life, now you know. And I apologize if it makes you not like me a little bit. But I am, hopefully you like who I am now, because I feel like, a lot has happened in my life. I look back and I don't like that person, and I'm happy that I'm in a better place now, and that I can be a better example for my daughter and for, my stepson, and just show what real love should look like.
Yes. And that heals like the generations too, because you get, even if it's late, I always wanted to do it earlier too, but it's like our daughters are still at home, so I feel like they still get to see that, and it gives them that example to go out into the world and really expect more from relationships. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Perfect. So please know your worth, listen to your gut, and a little sneak peek into the next episode, we're going to be talking about perfectionism. I know that's something a lot of people struggle with, including myself. So we're going to talk about how it's actually holding you back. It's not making you better, it's actually holding you back. So please come and listen to episode 4. I think it'll be useful to a lot of people. It'll help project you forward and be able to do a lot more in life than what you've been doing, holding on to that perfectionism. So don't forget, if you have a friend that could use this particular episode especially, if anybody that you know would benefit from it, please share, subscribe, like our video. We would appreciate it so much. And until next time, your life, your rules, no limit. Stay limitless.